Are you struggling to pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam? Or maybe you just want to test your knowledge before the big day? Well, you are in the right place. Today we are diving into 50 must-know Security Plus practice questions with full explanation to help you crush the exam on your first try. Whether you are prepping for the test or just sharpening your skills, these questions will challenge you and reinforce what really matters. Stick around till the end because I will explain not just the answers but why they are correct. Alright, let's jump in. Your Security Plus success starts now. Question number 101. Following the detection of an unauthorized device connected to the corporate network, the security team at XYZ Corporation conducts an ad hoc risk assessment. What is the most critical aspect for the team to consider in this assessment? And the options are option A, the impact on network performance due to the unauthorized device. Option B, the potential for data exfiltration or compromise from the device. Option C, the cost of upgrading the network security to prevent future incidents. And option D, the need to train employees on proper device management. And the correct option is option B, the potential for data exfiltration or compromise from the device. And the explanation is so when an unauthorized device is detected on a corporate network, the most critical concern is security risk, especially whether the device could lead to data theft, unauthorized access, or compromise of sensitive systems. While performance, cost, and training are important considerations, they are secondary compared to the immediate threat of a potential breach or exfiltration of corporate data. Question number 102. An online retailer stores customer transaction records in its database. To protect customer privacy, the retailer implements record level encryption. What is a key advantage of this encryption approach in terms of data privacy? So if you know some basics about a database, so in database data is stored in rows and columns. And these individual rows that represent a complete information about anything such as, let's suppose, a customer. It may represent the customer name, his social security number, his salary, etc. So this complete row is known as a record. So here we are talking about an individual record level encryption. So the options for the questions are option A, it speeds up the processing of customer transaction. Option B, it enables targeted advertising based on transaction records. Option C, it secures individual records protecting specific customer details. And option D, it aggregates data for easier analysis and reporting. And the correct option is option C, it secures individual records protecting specific customer details. So record level encryption ensures that each customer's transaction record is encrypted separately. This means that even if part of the database is compromised, only the exposed records are at risk, not the entire dataset. It provides granular protection of sensitive information and helps preserve customer privacy. Question number 103. A security analyst at a large corporation notices that several workstations are infected with a new variant of malware despite having up-to-date antivirus software installed. Malware is causing significant disruption to business operations. What is the most likely reason for the failure of the antivirus software to detect the threat, and what should be the analyst's immediate action? And the options are option A, the antivirus software is not compatible with the operating system, upgrade the operating system. Option B, the malware is a zero-day threat, update the antivirus with the latest threat intelligence. Option C, the antivirus software is misconfigured, reconfigure the antivirus settings. And option D, the network firewall is allowing malware through, update the firewall rules. And the correct option is option B, the malware is a zero-day threat, update the antivirus with the latest threat intelligence. So if the workstations are infected despite having up-to-date antivirus, the most likely cause is that the malware is a zero-day variant, that is a previously unknown threat not yet included in the traditional antivirus signature databases. In such cases, the analyst's immediate action should be to update security tools with the latest threat intelligence and leverage advanced detection methods, for example, behavior analysis, endpoint detection and response to contain and remediate the infection. Question number 104, a large retail chain is transferring the risk of credit card fraud to a third-party payment processing service. What aspects should the retail chain focus on to ensure effective risk transfer in this scenario? And the options are option A, the speed and efficiency of the third-party payment processing system. Option B, the contractual obligations and liability terms with the service provider. Option C, the compatibility of the payment system with the chain's point of sale technology. And option D, the potential for reduced transaction fees and cost savings. And the correct option is option B, the contractual obligations and liability terms with the service provider. So when transferring risk to a third-party provider, the most critical factor is ensuring that the contract clearly defines liability, responsibilities, and compliance requirements. For example, PCI DSS, that is Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. So speed, compatibility, and cost savings are operational considerations, but they don't guarantee effective risk transfer. Only well-defined contractual and legal obligations do. Question number 105, an organization uses an automated system for security monitoring, integrating multiple security tools via APIs. After implementing a new security tool, the team noticed a delay in the aggregation of security logs. What should be the first step in troubleshooting this issue? And the options are option A, replacing the new security tool with a different one. Option B, checking the API integration between the new tool and the existing system. Option C, increasing the bandwidth of the organization's network. And option D, training the security team on the new tool functionalities. And the correct option is option B, checking the API integration between the new tool and the existing system. So since the issue appeared right after adding the new security tool, the first logical step is to verify whether the API integration is functioning correctly. Misconfigured or inefficient API connections often cause delays in log aggregation. Replacing the tool, upgrading bandwidth, or training staff may help later if needed, but troubleshooting should begin with the most direct and likely cause. Question number 106, a healthcare provider uses digital certificates issued by a certificate authority or CA for secure email communications with patients. How does the CA enhance the security of these email communications? And the options are option A, it filters spam and phishing emails from patients' inboxes. Option B, it provides encrypted storage for email messages. Option C, it authenticates the healthcare provider's identity to patients receiving the emails. And option D, it automatically translates email content into multiple languages. And the correct option is Option C, it authenticates the healthcare provider's identity to patients receiving the email. So the main function of CA is the authentication of the sender using the digital certificates. A CA or certificate authority issues digital certificates that verify the authenticity of the sender's identity. In this case, patients can trust that emails truly come from the healthcare provider, reducing the risk of impersonation or phishing. While encryption may also be involved, the CA's primary role is identity authentication, not filtering storage or translation. Question number 107. During a security training, employees are informed about a recent incident where a hacker used a blue snorting attack to access and steal information from a company phone left in pairing mode in a public space. This type of attack primarily exploits which vulnerability in Bluetooth enabled devices. And the options are option A, open Wi-Fi networks, option B, outdated firmware, option C, weak or default pairing codes, and option D, insecure Bluetooth pairing practices. And the correct option is option D, insecure Bluetooth pairing practices. So, blue snarfing attacks exploit insecure Bluetooth pairing where a device left in discoverable or pairing mode can be accessed without the user's knowledge. This allows attackers to connect and steal data such as contacts, messages, or files. While outdated firmware and weak codes can contribute to risks, the core vulnerability in blue snarfing is poor Bluetooth pairing security practices. Question number 108. A bank is enhancing its online banking platform to include biometric authentication for customer logins. This is in addition to existing username and password authentication. The bank aims to strengthen security by verifying the identity of customers more reliably. Which type of authentication is being implemented by the bank to authenticate its customers more effectively? And the options are option A, single factor authentication, option B, two factor authentication, option C, multi factor authentication, and option D, token based authentication. And the correct option is option C, multi factor authentication. So, what about the option B? Please comment about option B that why option B is not the correct option and write your answer in the comments. And the explanation is that the multi-factor authentication involves using more than one method to verify a user's identity. In this scenario, the bank is adding biometric authentication, something the user is, to the existing username, and password authentication, which is something the user knows. So this combination of two different type of authentication factors significantly enhancing security by ensuring that even if one factor, such as a password, is compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented by additional factor, that is biometric authentication. So MFA or multi-factor authentication is widely recognized for providing a higher level of security compared to single factor or token based authentication. Question number 109. An organization wants to reduce the likelihood of unauthorized access to its office building. Which of the following deterrent control would be most effective in achieving this goal? And the options are option A, posting warning signs about surveillance and penalties for trespassing. Option B, installing a firewall on the office network. Option C, conducting background checks on new employees. And option D, implementing an employee security awareness program. And the correct option is Option A, posting warning signs about surveillance and penalties for trespassing. And the explanation is so deterrent controls are meant to discourage or prevent malicious actions by creating fear of consequences. Warning signs about video surveillance and legal penalties make potential intruders think twice before attempting unauthorized access. A firewall is a technical preventive control, not a physical deterrent. Background checks are detective and preventive controls for insiders, and awareness program is administrative preventive control. For physical unauthorized access, visible deterrents like warning signs and surveillance notices are most effective. Question number 110. A company is configuring a new secure web server. The IT team needs to decide on the appropriate port to use for the encrypted web traffic. Considering best practices for secure web communication, which port should the IT team configure for the web server to handle the HTTPS traffic? HTTPS is the secure and encrypted web traffic. And the options are option A, port 21, typically used for FTP, file transfer protocol, to leverage its widespread use. Option B, port 80, commonly used for HTTP to ensure compatibility with web browsers. Option C, port 443, the standard port for HTTPS to provide secure communication. And option D, port 25, commonly used for SMTP, that is simple mail transfer protocol, to facilitate email notifications. And the correct option is option C, port 443, the standard port for HTTPS to provide secure communication. And the explanation is so by default, HTTPS, that is secure web traffic, runs on port 443, ensuring encrypted communication between the client and the server using SSL/TLS. Port 21 is used by the FTP, that is file transfer protocol. Port 80 is used by HTTP, which is unencrypted and unsecure web traffic. And port 25 is used for SMTP, that is simple mail transfer protocol, for email transfer, not web traffic. So therefore, for secure web communication, the IT team should configure the server on port 443. Question number 111. A large e-commerce company has implemented a new online shopping platform. To ensure high availability and fault tolerance, the IT team is considering either load balancing or clustering for their web servers. During a peak shopping season, one of the web servers experiences a hardware failure. In this context, which solution would have ensured continuous service without any downtime or performance degradation? And the options are option A, load balancing, option B, clustering, option C, neither load balancing nor clustering, and option D, both load balancing and clustering. And the correct option is option B, clustering. So why is clustering the correct option? So load balancing basically distribute traffic across multiple servers, but if one server fails, users connected to it may experience some dropped sessions unless session persistence and failover mechanisms are in place. While clustering, on the other hand, provides fault tolerance and high availability by allowing another node in the cluster to automatically take over when one fails, ensuring continuous service with no downtime. So in this case of a hardware failure, clustering is the solution that guarantees uninterrupted service. Question number 112. Which of the following is the first environment in which proper secure coding should be practiced? And the options are option A, stage, option B, development, option C, production, and option D, test. So these are all different phases or stages of software or coding development life cycle. So we are asked about the stage at which the secure coding should be practiced, or the first environment where secure coding should be practiced, and the correct option is development. So we should start secure coding practice from the very beginning and the initial stage, that is development. So proper securing coding should be first implemented in the development environment. The development environment is where software engineers write, test, and debug code before it progresses to other environments such as testing, staging, and production. By practicing secure coding principles from the outset in the development environment, developers can mitigate potential vulnerabilities and security flaws early in the software development lifecycle. This approach helps reduce the likelihood of introducing security issues that could persist into later stages and production environment. Question number 113. A cloud service provider has created an environment where customers can connect existing local network to the cloud for additional computing resources and block internal HR applications from reaching the cloud. Which of the following cloud models is being used? And the options are option A, public, option B, community, option C, hybrid, option D, private. And the correct option is option C, hybrid. So the cloud model being used in this scenario is hybrid. In a hybrid cloud model, organizations can integrate their existing on-premises infrastructure or private cloud with the public cloud services. In this case, the cloud service provider allows customers to connect their existing local networks, likely on-premises network or private cloud, to the cloud environment to access additional computing resources. At the same time, internal HR applications are blocked from reaching the cloud, indicating a selective integration strategy where certain applications or data remain on premises or in a private cloud environment while others utilize public cloud resources. Question number 114. An organization has developed an application that needs a patch to fix a critical vulnerability. In which of the following environments should the patch be deployed last? And the options are option A, test, option B, staging, option C, development, and option D, production. And the correct option is option D, production, and the explanation is, so the page should be deployed last in the production environment. Here is the order of deployment for patching a critical vulnerability. Development, so this is where the page is first created and tested to ensure it fixes the vulnerabilities. Staging, this is a simulated production environment where the page can be thoroughly tested for functionality and compatibility with other applications before deploying it to live systems. Test, so if needed, the patch can undergo additional testing in a dedicated test environment. And production, after successful testing in the non-production environment, the patch is finally deployed to the live production environment where the application is used by real users. So deploying the patch to production last minimizes the risk of introducing new issues or downtime to critical systems. Question number 115. An organization is building backup server rooms in geographically diverse locations. The Chief Information Security Officer implemented a requirement on the project that states the new hardware cannot be susceptible to the same vulnerabilities in the existing server room. Which of the following should the system engineer consider? And the options are option A, purchasing hardware from different vendors. Option B, migrating workloads to public cloud infrastructure. Option C, implementing a robust patch management solution. And option D, designing a new detective security controls. And the correct option is option A, purchasing hardware from different vendors. So different vendors means hardware diversity, which reduces risk if a single vendor fails or if a single vendor has vulnerabilities. Question number 116. A security analyst is working on a project to implement a solution that monitors network communication and provides alerts when abnormal behavior is detected. Which of the following is the security analyst most likely implementing? And the options are option A, vulnerability scans, option B, user behavior analysis, option C, security orchestration, automation and response, and option D, threat hunting. And the correct option is option B, user behavior analysis. The security analysis is most likely implementing user behavior analysis. User behavior analysis or UBA involves monitoring and analyzing patterns of network communication and user activities to detect deviations from normal behavior. By analyzing behaviors such as network traffic patterns, login times, data access patterns, and more, UBA solution can identify anomalous activities that may indicate insider threats, compromised accounts, or other malicious activities. Question number 117. A customer service representative reported an unusual text message that was sent to the help desk. The message contained an unrecognized invoice number with a large balance due and a link to click for more details. Which of the following best describes this technique? And the options are option A, phishing, option B, whaling, option C, phishing, and option D, smishing. And the correct option is option D, smishing. So the technique described where a text message contains a link to click for more details about an unrecognized invoice with a large balance due is best described as smishing. So smishing or SMS phishing involves sending fraudulent text messages that typically contain a link or phone number designed to deceive recipients into providing sensitive information or clicking on malicious links. In this case, the text message aims to lure recipients into clicking the link, which could lead to a phishing website or malware installation. Question number 118. Which of the following actions would be recommended to improve an incident response process? And the options are option A, train the teams to identify the difference between events and incidents. Option B, modify access so the IT team has full access to the compromised assets. Option C, contact the authorities if a cyber crime is suspected. And option D, restrict communication surrounding the response to the IT team. And the correct option is option A, train the team to identify the difference between events and incidents. So the action recommended to improve an incident response process is train the team to identify the difference between events and incident. And here is why. So training the team to identify the difference between events and incidents helps ensure that incidents are properly recognized and escalated for appropriate response actions. This training includes understanding the severity and impact of events and incidents, distinguishing between normal operational activities and security breaches, and responding promptly and effectively to mitigate risks. Question number 119. A cybersecurity administrator needs to implement a layer 7 security control on a network and block potential attacks. Which of the following can block an attack at layer 7? Choose two options. So we are talking about OSI layer 7, also known as application layer. And the options are option A, HIDS, that is Host Intrusion Detection System. Option B, NIPS, Network Intrusion Prevention System. Option C, HSM, Hardware Security Module. Option D, WAF or Web Application Firewall. Option E, NAC, Network Access Control. And option F, NIDS, Network Intrusion Detection System. And the two correct options are option B, NIPS, Network Intrusion Prevention System, and option D, WAF, Web Application Firewall. So to implement a layer 7 or application layer security control on a network and block potential attacks, the following options can be considered. Number one is WAF, Web Application Firewall. So a WAF operates at layer 7 of the OSI model and can inspect and filter HTTP or web traffic to detect and block attacks targeting web applications such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other application layer attacks. While the second is NIPS, Network Intrusion Prevention System. So some advanced NIPS solutions can operate at layer 7 to inspect and filter application layer traffic for known and unknown attacks. They can analyze application protocols to detect anomalies and malicious patterns indicative of attacks. Question number 120. A business operations manager is concerned that a PC that is critical to business operation will have a costly hardware failure soon. The manager is looking for options to continue business operations without incurring large costs. Which of the following would mitigate the manager's concerns? And the options are option A, implement a full system upgrade. Option B, perform a physical to virtual migration. Option C, install uninterruptible power supplies. And option D, purchase cybersecurity insurance. And the correct option is option B, perform a physical to virtual migration. So physical to virtual migration involves moving the critical application and its data from a physical PC to a virtual machine running on a server. This allows the business to continue operations even if the physical PC fails because the VM can be easily migrated to another server. This is a cost-effective solution compared to a full upgrade. Question number 121. Which of the following uses SAML for authentication? And the options are option A, TOTP, option B, Federation, option C, Kerberos, and option D, HOTP. And the correct option is option B, Federation. So the technology that uses SAML, that is Security Assertion Markup Language for authentication, is Federation. Federation refers to the use of standards such as SAML to enable single sign-on or SSO across different systems or organizations. SAML allows for the exchange of authentication and authorization data between trusted entities, facilitating seamless access to multiple applications or services without requiring users to log in separately to each one. Question number 122. Business partners are working on a security mechanism to validate transactions securely. The requirement is for one company to be responsible for deploying a trusted solution that will register and issue artifacts used to sign, encrypt, and decrypt transaction files. Which of the following is the best solution to adopt? And the options are option A, PKI, option B, blockchain, option C, SAML, and option D, OAuth. And the correct option is, so the correct option is PKI. And the explanation is, so the question describes a scenario where one company must register, issue, and manage artifacts, that is keys and certificates, that can be used to sign, encrypt, and decrypt transaction files. This is exactly what a public key infrastructure or PKI provides. So certificate authorities or CA issue and manage digital certificates. Certificates and keys are used for encryption, digital signatures, and secure communication. The other options, including blockchain, ensure distributed ledger integrity but not for centralized signing or encryption management. SAML is used for authentication and single sign-on, not for transaction file encryption. And OAuth is authorization framework for granting access, not for encryption or signing. So the best solution to adopt here is PKI or public key infrastructure. Question number 1 to 3. A security analyst has been asked by the Chief Information Security Officer to develop a secure method for or of providing centralized management of infrastructure, reduce the need to constantly replace aging end user machines, and provide a consistent user desktop experience. So which of the following best meets these requirements? And the options are option A, BYOD, that is bring your own device. Option B, mobile device management or MDM. Option C, VDI, that is virtual desktop infrastructure. And option D, containerization. And the correct option is option C, VDI, that is virtual desktop infrastructure. So VDI provides centralized management of infrastructure. It allows desktop to be hosted and managed centrally in the data center or cloud. It reduces the need to replace aging machines. So end user devices only act as thin clients. So hardware requirements are minimal, and it provides a consistent desktop experience. So all users connect to the standardized virtual desktops, ensuring uniformity. So other options such as BYOD or bring your own device lets users bring their own devices but does not solve centralized management or consistency. Mobile device management or MDM manages mobile devices, not desktops. And containerization separates applications and data but does not provide full desktop experience. Question number 1 to 4. Which of the following terms describes a broad range of information that is sensitive to a specific organization? And the options are option A, public, option B, top secret, option C, proprietary, and option D, open source. And the correct option is option C, proprietary. And the explanation is, so the proprietary information refers to a broad range of sensitive information that is unique and valuable to a specific organization, such as trade secrets, internal processes, product designs, and business strategies. Public information is meant for everyone and it is not sensitive. Top secret information are usually dealt by a government or military classification, and it is not a broad or business use information, while open source is freely shared and not sensitive. So for organization, the best term describing sensitive internal information is proprietary. Question number 1 to 5. An organization is planning to roll out a new mobile device policy and issue each employee a new laptop. These laptops would access the user's corporate operating system remotely and allow them to use the laptops for purposes outside of their job roles. Which of the following deployment models is being utilized? And the options are option A, MDM and application management. Option B, BYOD and containers. Option C, COAP and VDI. And option D, CYOD and VMs. And the correct option is option C, COAP and VDI. And the explanation is, so the COAP are the corporate owned and personally enabled. So these are the organization issued laptops, but employees are allowed to use them for both work and personal purposes. VDI are virtual desktop infrastructure, so employees remotely access the corporate operating system hosted centrally, providing secure and consistent work environments. Other option, MDM and application management, focuses on managing devices and applications but does not match the described model. BYOD and containers would mean employees bring their own devices, which is not the case here. And CYOD and VMs. So CYOD allows employees to choose from approved devices, but here the laptops are directly issued. Question number 1 to 6. A security forensics analyst is examining a virtual server. The analyst wants to preserve the present state of the virtual server, including memory content. Which of the following backup types should be used? And the options are option A, snapshot, option B, differential, option C, cloud, option D, full, and option E, incremental. And the correct option is option A, snapshot. So a snapshot of a virtual server captures the entire current state, including the disk content, memory content, and configuration. This makes it ideal for forensics and incident response, as it preserves the exact running state of the system for later analysis. Differential, incremental, and full backups are traditional file and data backups and do not capture memory state, while cloud is just a storage location, not a backup type. So, for preserving both disk and memory state of a virtual server, the best choice is snapshot. Question number 1 to 7. Which of the following methods would most likely be used to identify legacy systems? And the options are option A, bug bounty program, option B, vulnerability scan, option C, package monitoring, and option D, dynamic analysis. And the correct option is option B, vulnerability scan. So a vulnerability scan is typically used to identify systems with known vulnerabilities, and legacy systems are often outdated and may not be patched regularly. By running vulnerability scan across the network, an organization can detect these systems based on the vulnerabilities they present due to outdated software or unsupported configurations. Question number 1 to 8. Employees located off-site must have access to company resources in order to complete their assigned tasks. These employees utilize a solution that allows remote access without interception concern. Which of the following best describes this solution? And the options are option A, proxy server, option B, NG firewall or next generation firewall, option C, VPN, that is virtual private network, and option D, security zone. So the key term here is without the interception concern or without the security concern of communication or packet interception. And the best solution for this is VPN, virtual private network. So a VPN or virtual private network is the best solution for employees to access company resources remotely without interception concern. A VPN creates a secure and encrypted tunnel over the internet, ensuring that data transmitted between the remote employee and the company network is protected from interception or eavesdropping. Question number 129. A company allows customers to upload PDF documents to its public e-commerce website. Which of the following would a security analyst most likely recommend? And the options are option A, utilizing attack signatures in an IDS. Option B, enabling software detection through a UTM. Option C, limiting the affected servers with a load balancer. And option D, blocking command injections via a web or web application firewall. And the correct option is option B, enabling malware detection through a UTM or Unified Threat Management. So when allowing users to upload files, especially PDFs, a security concern is that malicious file could be uploaded and executed on the server or spread to other users. Enabling malware detection through a UTM or Unified Threat Management System is a comprehensive approach to scanning uploaded files for malware before they can cause harm. A UTM solution typically includes multiple security functions such as intrusion detection, antivirus scanning, and web filtering, which can help detect and block malicious files. Question number 130. A security analyst developed a script to automate a trivial and repeatable task. Which of the following best describes the benefits of ensuring other team members understand how the script works? And the options are option A, to reduce implementation cost, option B, to identify complexity, option C, to remediate technical debt, and option D, to prevent a single point of failure. And the correct option is option D, to prevent a single point of failure. So when a security analyst developed a script to automate a task, ensuring that other team members understand how the script works reduces the risk of a single point of failure. If only one person understands the script, the organization could face significant issues if that individual is unavailable due to illness, vacation, or leaving the company. By making sure others are familiar with the script, the team can continue to use and troubleshoot it effectively, ensuring continuity and reducing dependency on a single individual. Question number 131. A company is decommissioning its physical servers and replacing them with an architecture that will reduce the number of individual operating systems. Which of the following strategies should the company use to achieve these security requirements? And the options are option A, microservices, option B, containerization, option C, virtualization, and option D, infrastructure as code. And the correct option is option B, containerization. So containerization involves running application in isolated environments, that is containers that share the host operating system. This allows for running multiple applications on a single OS while maintaining separation between the application. Unlike virtualization, which requires separate operating system installation for each virtual machine, containerization enables the use of fewer OS instances, thereby reducing the number of individual operating systems and, as such, reducing the overall resource consumption and load. Question number 132. An administrator needs to perform server hardening before deployment. Which of the following steps should the administrator take? Choose two options, and the options are option A, disable default accounts, option B, add the server to the asset inventory, option C, remove unnecessary services, option D, document default passwords, option E, send server logs to SIEM, and option F, join the server to the corporate domain. And the correct option is The first correct option is option A, disable default accounts, and option C, remove unnecessary services. So server hardening involves securing a server by reducing its surface of vulnerability. This typically includes actions that remove unnecessary services, such as disabling unnecessary services, disabling default accounts, and configuring the system securely before deployment. So option A, disable default accounts often come. So the default accounts often come with known credentials and are a common target for attackers. Disabling or changing default accounts reduces the risk of unauthorized access. And option C, remove unnecessary services. So unnecessary services running on a server can create vulnerabilities, providing additional attack surface. Removing or disabling services that are not required for the server's intended purpose helps minimize these risks. Question number 133. A chief information security officer would like to conduct frequent detailed reviews of systems and procedures to track compliance objectives. Which of the following will be the best method to achieve this objective? And the options are option A, third party attestation, option B, penetration testing, option C, internal auditing, and option D, vulnerability scans. And the correct option is option C, internal auditing. So internal auditing is the most effective method for conducting frequent detailed reviews of systems and procedures to track compliance objectives. It involves a thorough examination of internal processes, controls, and systems to ensure compliance with regulations, policies, and standards. Internal audits can be performed regularly to track progress and identify any areas where the organization is not meeting its compliance objectives. Question number 134. Which of the following security concepts is accomplished with the installation of a radius servers? And the options are option A, CIA, option B, AAA, option C, ACL, and option D, PAM. The correct option is AAA, that is authentication, authorization, and accounting. So Radius, that is remote authentication dial-in user service, is a protocol that provides centralized authentication, authorization, and accounting, that is AAA, for network access. It helps manage users' access to the network, ensuring that only authorized individuals can access resources, tracking their activities, and enforcing security policies. Authentication is verifying the identity of the user or device trying to access the network. Authorization is defining what an authenticated user is allowed to do once they have access to the network. And accounting is tracking the activities of users, such as the duration of their connection, the services accessed, and data usage. Question number 135. After creating a contract for IT contractors, the Human Resources Department changed several clauses. The contract has gone through 3 revisions. Which of the following processes should the Human Resources Department follow to track revisions? And the options are option A, version validation, option B, version changes, option C, version updates, and option D, version control. And the correct option is option D, version control. So version control is the process of tracking and managing changes to a document or file over time, ensuring that revisions are documented and previous versions can be referenced or restored if necessary. In this case, the Human Resources Department is modifying the IT contractor's contract and needs to keep track of the changes made through multiple revisions. Version control helps maintain a history of all revisions, making it easier to track changes and ensure that the latest version is used. Question number 136. The executive management team is mandating the company develop a disaster recovery plan. Cost must be kept to a minimum and the money to fund additional internet connections is not available. Which of the following would be the best option? And the options are option A, cold site, option A, hot site, option B, cold site, option C, failure site, and option D, warm site. And the correct option is option B, cold site. So a cold site is a disaster recovery site that provides the basic infrastructure such as power, cooling, and space, but does not have pre-configured hardware, software, or network connections. In the event of a disaster, the company would need to bring its own equipment and systems online, which can be time-consuming but is most cost-effective option compared to other recovery site types. Question number 137. An administrator at a small business notices an increase in support calls from employees who receive a blocked page message after trying to navigate to a spoof website. Which of the following should the administrator do? And the options are option A, deploy multi-factor authentication, option B, decrease the level of the web filter setting, option C, implement security awareness training, and option D, update the acceptable use policy. And the correct option is option C, implement the security awareness training. So the employees are receiving blocked page messages after trying to access a spoofed website, which indicates they might be falling for phishing or social engineering attacks. Security awareness training will help employees recognize and avoid these type of threats by educating them about safe browsing practices, identifying suspicious links, and understanding the risk of visiting malicious sites. It is a proactive approach to reduce the likelihood of employees being tricked by spoofed websites. Question number 138. Which of the following teams is best suited to determine whether a company has systems that can be exploited by potential identified vulnerability? And the options are option A, purple team, option B, blue team, option C, red team, and option D, white team. And the correct option is option C, red team. So a red team is specifically tasked with simulating attacks on a company's system to identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited by adversaries. Their goal is to mimic the tactics, techniques, and procedures for real-world attackers to find weaknesses in the system and provide a comprehensive assessment of the company's security posture. Question number 139. A company is reviewing options to enforce user logins after several account takeovers. The following condition must be met as part of the solution. Number 1. Allow employees to work remotely or from assigned offices around the world. Provide a seamless login experience and limit the amount of equipment required. Which of the following best meets these conditions? And the options are option A, trusted devices, option B, geotagging, option C, smart cards, and option D, time-based logins. And the correct option is option A, trusted devices. So trusted devices allow employees to securely access company system using their personal or company issued devices that are recognized by the security system. This solution meets the given condition because number 1, remote work employee can use their personal or company devices to access the system regardless of their location, that is remote or office based. Seamless login. Trusted devices often leverage a simple authentication mechanism. For example, device recognition or single sign-on for a smooth and continuous login experience without needing additional manual steps. And limited equipment, trusted devices reduce the need for additional hardware like smart cards or tokens, as the devices themselves serve as the authentication factor. Question number 140. Which of the following methods can be used to detect attackers who have successfully infiltrated a network? Choose two options. And the options are option A, tokenization, option B, CICD, option C, honeypots, option D, threat modeling, option E, DNS sinkhole, and option F, data obfuscation. And the correct options are option C, honeypots, and option D, DNS sinkhole. So what are these? So honeypots are decoy systems set up to lure attackers into engaging with them. These systems are intentionally left vulnerable or seem attractive to attackers, but they are isolated from the real network. By monitoring interactions with the honeypots, security teams can detect when an attacker has successfully infiltrated the network and can gather intelligence on the attacker's methods. DNS sinkhole. So a DNS sinkhole is a technique used to intercept and redirect malicious DNS traffic to a controlled server. This can be used to detect when attackers are trying to communicate with external malicious servers, for example, for data exfiltration or command and control. If an attacker has infiltrated the network and is attempting to reach these servers, the sinkhole will detect and log their activity. Question number 141. A company wants to ensure that the software it develops will not be tampered with after the final version is completed. Which of the following should the company most likely use? And the options are option A, hashing, option B, encryption, option C, baseline, and option D, tokenization. And the correct option is option A, hashing. So hashing is a technique used to generate a unique fixed size string that is hashed based on the contents of the software or any data. Once the software is developed or finalized, the company can generate a hash of the software and store it securely. Later, whenever the software needs to be validated, the hash can be recomputed and compared to the stored hash to ensure that the software has not been tampered with. Any alteration in the software would result in a different hash, signaling that tampering has occurred. Question number 142. An organization completed a project to deploy SSO, that is single sign-on, across all business applications last year. Recently, the finance department selected a new cloud-based accounting software vendor. Which of the following would most likely be configured during the new software deployment? And the options are option A, Radius, option B, SAML, option C, EAP, and option D, Open ID. And the correct option is option B, SAML. So SAML, or Security Assertion Markup Language, is a widely used single sign-on SSO protocol that allows organizations to configure authentication across multiple applications. It is particularly effective for cloud-based applications where users can authenticate once through a centralized identity provider and then access a variety of applications without needing to log in multiple times. Since the organization has already deployed SSO across business applications, they would most likely use SAML to integrate the new cloud-based accounting software into the existing SSO setup. Question number 143. A user who is waiting for a flight at an airport logs into the airline website using the public Wi-Fi, ignores a security warning, and purchases an upgraded seat. When the flight lands, the user finds unauthorized credit card charges. Which of the following attacks most likely occurred? And the options are option A, replay attack, option B, memory attack, option C, buffer overflow attack, and option D, on path attack. And the correct option is option D, on path attack. So, what is an on path attack? An on path attack, formerly known as man in the middle attack, occurs when an attacker intercepts and potentially alters the communication between the two parties, such as a user and a website, without their knowledge. In this case, the user logged into the airline website or public Wi-Fi and ignored a security warning, making it easier for an attacker to intercept the communication and capture sensitive data such as credit card information. Public Wi-Fi networks are particularly vulnerable to on-path attacks because they are often unsecured, allowing attackers to position themselves between the user and the website, capturing or manipulating traffic. Question number 144. A network engineer deployed a redundant switch stack to increase system availability. However, the budget can only cover the cost of one ISP connection. Which of the following best describes the potential risk factor? And the options are option A, the equipment MTBF is unknown. Option B, the ISP has no SLA. Option C, N RPO has not been determined. And option D, there is a single point of failure. And the correct option is option D, there is a single point of failure. So the single point of failure refers to a situation where the entire system relies on one component, such as the ISP connection in this case. Since the company can only afford one ISP connection, if that connection goes down, the entire network will lose connectivity, which is a significant risk for system availability. Even though the redundant switch stack improves internal network resilience, the single ISP connection creates a vulnerability outside the network that can cause complete service disruption. Question number 145. A network team segmented a critical end-of-life server to a VLAN, that is virtual local area network, that can only be reached by specific devices but cannot be reached by the perimeter network. Which of the following best describe the controls the team implemented? Choose two options, and the options are option A, managerial, option B, physical, option C, corrective, option D, detective, option E, compensating, option F, technical, and option G, deterrent. And the correct options are option E, compensating, and option F, technical. So, the team used technical controls to enforce access restrictions through network segmentation, that is VLAN, and by controlling which devices can communicate with the server. These measures are implemented through technologies such as network devices, for example, switches and firewalls, and VLAN configuration, making this a technical control. Compensating. So, compensating controls are implemented to mitigate risk when the ideal or primary controls cannot be applied. In this case, the server is end of life and probably lacks the necessary security features for direct exposure to the perimeter network. So, segmenting it into a restricted VLAN provides a compensating control to limit its exposure and reduce the risk. Question number 146. A threat actor was able to use a username and password to log into a stolen company mobile device. Which of the following provides the best solution to increase mobile data security on all employees' company mobile devices? The options are option A, application management, option B, full disk encryption, option C, remote wipe, and option D, containerization. And the correct option is option B, full disk encryption. So full disk encryption ensures that all data stored on the mobile device is encrypted, making it unreadable without proper authentication. If a threat actor gains access to a stolen mobile device, they will not be able to access the data unless they have the correct password or encryption key. This is the best solution for protecting the sensitive data on a mobile device in case of theft. Question number 147. Which of the following best describes the risk present after controls and mitigation factors have been applied? And the options are option A, residual, option B, avoided, option C, inherent, and option D, operational. And the correct option is option A, residual. So residual risk refers to the risk that remains after controls and mitigating factors have been applied to reduce or eliminate the initial risk. While these controls can reduce the likelihood or impact of a threat, they typically cannot eliminate the risk entirely. Therefore, the remaining risk after applying mitigation strategy is considered residual risk. Question number 148. A software development team asked a security administrator to recommend techniques that should be used to reduce the chances of the software being reverse engineered. Which of the following should the security administrator recommend? And the options are option A, digitally signing the software, option B, performing code obfuscation, option C, limiting the use of third-party libraries, and option D, using compile flags. And the correct option is option B, performing code obfuscation. So performing code obfuscation is a technique that makes the source code of the software more difficult to understand and reverse engineer. It involves changing the code structure without altering its functionality. This can include renaming libraries, functions, and class names to meaningless or cryptic names, altering the flow of the code, and using techniques that make it harder for an attacker to decipher the logic of the program. Question number 149. Which of the following is a possible factor for MFA or multi-factor authentication? And the options are option A, something you exhibit, option B, something you have, option C, somewhere you are, and option D, someone you know. The correct option is option B, something you have. So multi-factor authentication or MFA requires two or more different factors for authentication. These factors can fall into one or more of the following categories. Something you know, for example, password or PIN. Something you have, for example, a smartphone, hardware token, or smart card. Something you are, for example, biometric identifier like fingerprint or facial recognition, or someone you know. So someone you know is not typically considered a valid factor in standard MFA setups. Question number 150. A user downloaded software from an online forum. After the user installed the software, the security team observed external network traffic connected to the user's computer on an uncommon port. Which of the following is the most likely explanation for this unauthorized connection? And the options are option A, the software had a hidden keylogger. Option B, the software was ransomware. Option C, the user's computer had a fileless virus. And option D, the software contained a backdoor. The correct option is option D. The the software contained a backdoor. So the software contained a backdoor means a backdoor allows remote access to the system, often without the user's knowledge. It is common for malicious software downloaded from untrusted sources to include a backdoor that enables an attacker to access the system flexibility. The unusual network traffic on an uncommon port is consistent with this type of malicious activity, as the attacker would be remotely controlling the system. So that's all for this video. Please like, subscribe and share the video. And if you want more such videos, write in the comments. Thank you and see you in the next video.